Mrs. Kravitz, the Hatfield and McCoys. A lot of people have had one at some point. A nosy neighbor or someone with whom you just can't get along.
Some feuds last for weeks, months, sometimes even years.
And in one Rochester neighborhood, we found two neighbors who just can't seem to mend fences. So tonight we take a closer look at a local feud making it all the way to the Supreme Court.
13 WAM's Cody Combs spoke with two neighbors battling over the back fence and what you can do if you find yourself in a feud you just can't resolve.
Boundary disputes, unkept lawns, and noise nuisances, they can drive even the most sane person to the breaking point. In the case of these Rochester neighbors, it's an argument over approximately 30 inches of property. Near the corner of Lancraft and Culver is a 6-foot fence that might as well be the Berlin Wall.
She said, "Get off of my property. Go back to the country where you came from."
What's right is right. You can't come over here and damage somebody's property.
Tracy Hickmott has lived in the neighborhood for more than a decade, but a few years ago she says the Stucks moved in next door and wanted to build a fence.
What they neglected to tell me is the location of where they were going to put the fence.
Neighbor Karen Stuck acknowledges that she and her husband put the fence up on part of Hickmott's driveway, but that driveway happens to spill over onto Stuck's property. For 60 years, it was not a problem, but suddenly it became one.
They're alleging that they own 22 inches of the asphalt driveway.
The lawyers say we own the property. City Hall said we own the property, and our deed to this house says we own the property.
A back-and-forth battle was underway. Words were exchanged, as were accusations of property damage. Eventually, police got involved.
The police officer said, "Would you like to have her arrested for harassment?"
It was a pretty horrifying experience, and I just kind of blocked most of it out.
Hickmott even set up video cameras that capture some of the anger. She's now suing the Stucks, hoping to get the whole driveway back.
That driveway goes with her house, and nobody has said otherwise for 65 years.
Larry Krieger is Hickmott's lawyer, but he says neighbor arguments should rarely, if ever, get to this point. Before going to court, Krieger recommends first checking with local zoning laws and check with your neighbors. But remember to not take the law into your own hands. Most cities, he says, have offices set up to deal with such disputes. And remember, even if you go to court and even if you win,
You still have to live with that neighbor. And it makes the most sense to try to compromise at least the things that you can compromise on.
As for these feuding neighbors, their arguments are now in the hands of the New York Supreme Court. I also reached out to the attorney representing the Stuck family. He did not wish to go on camera, but he did say in these cases, he always tells potential clients to calm down, get a bottle of wine or some cookies from the store, take them to your neighbor, and try to talk things out. In the newsroom, I'm Cody Combs.